Hey everybody, welcome to my kitchen. Welcome to LGC. Let's get cooking with Brandy. Today on the menu is going to be Candied Firecrackers, aka the cowboy candy, but my way. So today for this recipe, all you're going to need is 1 teaspoon of celery seed, 4 pounds of jalapenos, 5 cups of sugar, 2.5 cups of apple cider vinegar, a half teaspoon of turmeric, a half teaspoon of mustard seed, 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And of course, you're going to need your materials. You're going to need 8 to 12 8-ounce canning jars with lids and bands. You're going to need if you're doing like us, we have hard water. So I use 1 cup of white vinegar in my processor. So you need your, whatever you use for water bathing, because you water bath this, you don't want to pressure can it. So with me, I have an electric digital canner from Presto. I couldn't think of the name. So you want to make sure to sterilize your jars. You always want to use sterilized jars when you're canning anything at all in your kitchen. So with my pressure canner, it comes with the little pot that has the lines for the water. So on your canner, you want to make sure that the water covers the jars at least 2 inches for water bathing. So with that being said, I have my jars in the sink right now with soapy water, getting them ready to get cleaned up, and I have a fly in the kitchen, as you can see. And I'm going to start getting all of my ingredients ready. So I will see you in just a minute. So anytime that I'm canning, I make sure that I have my quick start guide with me that walks me through all of the instructions with my canner. Even though I know how to operate my canner or anything, I still always have this for step by step. So I want to show you a little bit about my canner, because a lot of people does not use the digital canners, and where we live, everything is electric. I have an electric stove, so you cannot use a pressure cooker or a big pot to water bath on the electric stove, because it could crack the stove. So I went on ahead and bit the bullet and bought my Presto digital. Let's show this to you. You figure out how to turn it around. That's the fun part. So this is my Presto digital canner, and this is the main part of it. I have the pot out. It has the lock with the little vent. Then over here, it has the regulator that you always pop off when you're water bathing, but I leave it on until it's time to start everything up. You have your little pot holder, or jar holder, might I say, to keep off the bottom. And of course your electric plug. I always take it off when I'm storing it. I never leave it on. So, and then you have your pot for your water that all of the jars and everything goes through, which I've already placed water in it. As you can see, it has different levels here for different size jars. I am doing the 8-ounce jars, so I have it on the lowest one, so that the water can rise when all the jars go in. So we're going to set this up now, and let me put you on the pedestal so we can start setting this up so we can get it ready. Okay, so as you see, I don't know if you can see that, the connection for your power is right here. Very easy connect. So your pot goes right inside here. Place. You want to make sure that your inverted part is facing down, so it keeps your jars up from the bottom of the pot. That goes down in there. And I have a cup of white vinegar that I place in there for the hard water. Then the lid just goes on. Whenever you're ready, you do that. Take off your regulator and you're ready to go. And this does everything for you. It does the warming of the jars, the water bathing. It also pressure cans. It does everything, the cool down, all of it. It is the most perfect thing for somebody that does not have gas in their home. As you can see, I have my jars here. They've been sterilized, washed, everything. They're ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill them all half full of water so I can put them in the canner itself. Half to full. You just want enough in there to keep it down. So add these to it. So my canner holds 12 of the 8-ounce jars. So it's a pretty good size canner. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. And as you can see, it has a blinking light that says pressure can. You take and turn your knob, and it goes over to water bath. Now, we're going to click water bath, and we're going to put it on the minutes that we're going to have it water bathing for. And for this recipe, you're going to water bath it for 15 minutes. So I'm going to place my lid on. And as you can see, here is your lineup marks. So when it's here, you can remove the lid. You turn it to lock it. So next, we take and we shut it. And as you can see, it has a little vent here also as well that it will let off. And then you have your regulator back here. Now when you pressure can, you're going to want to leave your regulator on, and you have vent and can on there that goes all the way around. And this will let you know when it's time to vent and when it's time to seal. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin, and it says to insert jars, which I already did. So we're going to go ahead and push the button again, and now it's warming my jars. And I will leave it in here, leave all of the jars in here until I'm ready to use the jars. So let's get busy chopping everything up. Okay, as you can see, I have my scale here, and I have it tiered at 0, so I can do 4 pounds of the jalapenos. Get out my knife. Now, these are homegrown jalapenos, so some are small and some are bigger. All you're going to do is you're going to cut them to about 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch. And these are peppers that I did and picked last year. And all I did was put them in the freezer. I left them whole for this reason. To make, I do a lot of pepper jellies and a lot of different types of candied jalapenos, and I love to cook with them as well. So you're going to cut your peppers up until you get 4 pounds of peppers, because this recipe, like I said, is for 4 pounds. So I am going to get these cut up, and then I'll be back with you. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. I have got the 4 pounds of peppers cut up now. So now I'm going to start putting together my brine. And the brine is what is going to cook the peppers and what is going to go in the jar once the peppers get stuffed in the jar. So for this, Autumn, please move. I'm going to need 1 teaspoon. Okay, so we're going to do 1 teaspoon of celery seed. Two teaspoons of turmeric. No, I'm sorry, 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric. Don't add 2 teaspoons of turmeric, please. 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric. A 1/2 teaspoon of mustard seeds. And 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne. Now, we're going to do 5 cups of sugar. I have a little copycat here. Watch out, baby. So 5 cups of sugar. Okay, that's 5 cups of sugar. Now we're going to do 2½ cups of apple cider vinegar. So this is 1 cup. Here's the 1/2 cup. And here makes 2½ cups. So now what we're going to do, we're going to put this on the stove on high heat and bring up to a roiling boil. So be right back. So I put my stovetop on high because you want to bring this up to a boil that you can't stir down. So, and you want to stir frequently. As y'all can hear, I have my, I did have that on. Autumn pushed a button and made it start canning, water bathing, so I had to kill it. Lovely working with a toddler. So, like I said, you want to bring this up to a roiling boil with stirring frequently. So I'm going to bring this up to a boil and I'll be right back. Okay, so it's almost there, almost ready. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get my peppers. And like I said, you need 4 pounds of peppers. You can see I can stir it and it's still boiling. So that tells you right there that it is ready. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn it down to a medium low. And we're going to let it simmer for about 6 to 7 minutes. So I'm going to say 6 minutes. So as soon as the 6 minutes is up, you're going to still stir frequently. And as soon as the 6 minutes up, we will add the jalapenos. So I'll see you in 6 minutes. Okay, so I am back. And as you can see, I've let it simmer for 6 minutes. So now it's time to put the jalapenos in. Stir this about and get the ones that dropped on the stove. Now you want to make sure that you stir it up to where you get the stuff all on the peppers as well. And you're going to want to bring this back up to a boil. So we're going to put it on high heat again, just to bring up to a boil. Oh, look. I got a little habanero in there. Okay, so they're all pretty well coated in it. So now we're going to bring it up to a high heat, to a boil again, and let it cook. So I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, so I have it up to a roiling boil, so I'm turning it back down to a medium low, and you're going to let it simmer for 7 minutes, and then we're going to jar it up. So I'll see you in 7 minutes. Okay, so they're done for now. So now what we're going to start doing is ladling the jalapenos, the candied jalapenos, into the jars. So I'm only going to take 1 jar out at a time. so that my jars do not get cold. And you want to take a slotted spoon to do this and just put them in the jars. And you want to put as much down in there as you can without overpacking the jars, because you still have to get juice in there. So what I do is I'll do that. And then I'll just take a small little spatula and go around and leave enough headroom so that I could add juice all the way up to 1 inch. Let me put just a few more peppers in there. There we go. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, is I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these jars up, and then I'll be right back. So I had enough for 11 jars with 1 jar left over, and this is 4 pounds of jalapeno peppers, okay? So what you're going to do after you fill the jars is you're going to take that brine and you're going to put it back on the stove, bring it up to a roiling boil, and let it cook again for 6 to 7 minutes before you pour the liquid in the jars. So I have it on the stove right now, bringing it up to a boil. So as soon as the 6 to 7 minutes is over, I will be back and we will place the rest of the brine in the jars. And then normally you have brine left over. So what I do is, if I do have extra jars, I will take and can the brine as well. Because with that brine, you can use it as a soak for meat, or to marinate it in for briskets, pork, anything you want to marinate it in. You can use that brine to do it, and it brings out the most delicious flavor of your meats. So I will be back in about 6 to 7 minutes. So okay, I am back. I have placed the brine back on the stove for 6 minutes. And now what I'm going to do is put a little bit of brine in each jar. And it does not take much. Put that jar to the side. And with these little firecrackers, they won't last long on the shelf, because you're going to eat them and it's like eating candy. So you can't just have one piece. But they go great with cream cheese and crackers, with tacos, pizza. Eating them just straight out of the jar, you can do that as well. You can pair it with ham. They're really good on when you're putting a ham in the oven or on the pit. You can put this on it as well. They pair with just about anything. But they're shelf life stable for, depending on how cool you keep the area where you're going to store them at, anywhere from 2 to 5 years. It depends on your climate. Here, our climate would be about 3 years. They would be shelf stable for. Somewhere that is cooler and doesn't have the high humidity, they'll last a good 5 years. but they make perfect little birthday gift baskets or Christmas baskets, or like my daughter, hey mom, you got any cowboy candy? Got any candied jalapenos? So they don't last too long here. But once you get all of the brine in there, then you're going to get all of the bubbles out. After you get the bubbles out is when you put the lids and the bands on, and you're going to water bath them. And you're only going to water bath them for 15 minutes, depending on your altitude to where you live and how long you're supposed to water bath items. So this is the last jar that you're going to put the liquid in. Like I said, you're going to have brine left over. So just take that leftover brine and put it in that jar that you didn't have with any peppers in it. And that's a good marinade for you. So let's start with getting all of the air bubbles out. You push your peppers down in there. Doesn't matter if they float to the top. Just take your little spatula and just kind of move it around, getting all the air bubbles out. And don't forget, once you're done with this, you need to clean your rims of the jar. You can always add more brine if you need to. Just to make sure that they're covered. That you have enough for processing time. So those are ready now for the cleaning of the rims and putting the lids and bands on. Okay, so I have a little bit of vinegar on a paper towel to go around the rims. And you're doing this just to make sure that there's no seeds or gunk or anything on there that will keep it from sealing. Okay, so now we're ready for the lids and the bands. Now when you do your bands, you want to make sure they're just finger tight. You don't want them too tight. If you do, they're going to buckle the lid and they're not going to seal. So now we're going to put them into the canner. Okay. We're going to let these water bath for 15 minutes. I'm going to put the lid on. Lock it. And come right here and push this button to where it goes to 15 minutes. And once that's done, it'll let the pressure off and then start the cooling phase. So I'll see you later. So it is done. Now I'm going to take and unlatch it, but first I'm going to move it back forward because I moved it back a little bit. So I'm going to take and unlatch it and then unlock it. And be very careful because it is hot. So what I like to do is I save my boxes so that I can put them back in. So we're going to take them out, put them back in the box, and we're just going to let them sit for 8 to 12 hours so that they can completely seal. And if you notice, I can fit 12 in without rings and lids. But whenever I put the rings and lids in, I can only fit 10. So I had 2 left over that I still have to process. But I'm going to add that to the next batch that's going to be the next video, which is the sister to the Candied Little Firecrackers. And you have to check that video out to find out what the sister of the Candied Little Firecrackers is. So if you like this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and be on the lookout for more videos. As always, stay safe, be blessed. From LGC's kitchen to your kitchen, let's get cooking with Brandy. Have a safe day. Bye-bye.